Welcome to Suppose, a podcast where authors discuss the extraordinary. I'm James P. Hassell,
And I'm Sarah Jaune.
and this week's topic is Suppose the universe is predetermined. And this is one of my existential nightmares. I'm just going to put that out there.
Uh-huh.
Because I have weird thought patterns. So, if anyone's unfamiliar with the concept, and this is actually a scientific concept, not a religious one, it's also a religious one, but we'll get into that, I'm sure. But everyone knows about the Big Bang, or everyone should.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is Big Bang happens, everything expands, we're still expanding. If you don't know that concept, this one's a fun one too, by the way. This is going to be a sidetrack. I don't care.
Okay.
So if you measure from any point within the universe, and this is mostly everything is expanding from it.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's getting farther away. There are
Okay.
exceptions. Get into that too. But if you think of it that way, where if you're measuring like from Earth, everything's expanding away from Earth, other galaxies at least,
Mm-hmm.
which technically makes you the center of the universe.
Ooh. Well, I already knew that, but I
Mm-hmm.
like it.
Yeah, but now you have some like backing to go with it.
Totally.
Now, there are exceptions. Like I said, Andromeda is getting closer to the Milky Way. In about 4 billion years, they're going to crash into each other. That's a fun celestial event.
What's Andromeda?
Andromeda is the closest galaxy to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
our galaxy and the next galaxy over are on the collision course,
Sweet.
mostly.
I will be dead by then, so I
Oh,
don't care.
don't worry. 3.75 billion years from now, all life on Earth's dead anyway because it'll be too hot for liquid water to exist.
Huh. That's
Because
a
our,
fun fact.
'cause our sun's growing.
Oh, I see.
Hmm.
Got it.
So yeah, there's like a 12% chance that during this collision of two galaxies, our solar system will be spit out from the from the new galaxy being formed.
Hmm.
And everything will be fine. It'll still be a system on its own. It'll just not be part of a galaxy,
Hmm.
which is maddeningly interesting and terrifying at the same time.
Only if you were going to exist,
Well, yeah.
which you won't. So it's
No.
fine.
My conscious may still exist by then, you know?
Yeah.
The last episode we were talking about technology we could upload.
True.
I could technically still be around.
You could. I don't think it's likely, but you could.
No, absolutely not.
That's billion years is a long time.
Yeah, I think, 40 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So imagine 4 billion. Yeah,
Nope.
I'm pretty sure everything's gone by then or changed. One of the two. So, anyway, there's another concept in science. So, all of the galaxies are expanding. With expansion, the universe is expanding and growing just because things are floating through it. And then, trillions of years from now,
Mm-hmm.
all the stars will have burned out of all their fuel because fuel is a finite resource.
Okay.
So there will be no stars, there will be no heat. It's called the heat death of the universe.
Hmm.
Everything will stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
And in theory, it'll just be a frozen wasteland of nothing without light.
Hmm.
Now, this idea is not widely accepted, but there is a chance, possibility. Like, let's say the universe has an edge and things bump against it and they start coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then gravity will still exist because gravity is just gravity. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine if gravity starts taking back over and everything starts to contract again.
Mm-hmm.
And over trillions of more years, everything will contract back down and merge into one point, one condensed thing where everything will combine into each other, and then you'll have another Big Bang,
Huh.
thus making the universe cyclical in nature.
You know, this is like talking to my middle child, and I'm not sure that I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Hang on, I'm getting to the point.
Okay.
So the point being, if all matter is condensed and explodes and condenses and explodes, and everything follows the laws of nature, which everything does, what if, or suppose, everything's just playing out the same way? What if that could explain deja vu? The idea being we could be on, maybe there were past lives, but they were just the exact same past lives.
Well,
This could be the fourth time we've had this conversation.
I feel like this is the fourth time I've had this conversation, just not with you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I try really hard to tune him out because he wants to listen to a 10-year-old lecture you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not lecturing. I'm just exploring an idea.
He lectures. He knows all, and he is quite sure that he knows all, and I don't know anything, so I can't tell him he's wrong.
Well, yeah. If I was 10,
Okay,
I could do that too.
So, I mean, I feel like we don't have a really good grasp on all of the intricacies with this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that being a thing, but
Yeah. I'm saying contractions mostly been thrown out as an idea. Some still believe it could be possible.
okay.
So, I mean, I'm not saying anything definitive here. I'm just, to me, whenever I have that thought, especially, you know, late at night trying to go to sleep, and I'm thinking about what if this is just the replay, and it just gets maddeningly depressing.
Yeah, because you're just like, wow, I've already made this mistake. I mean, even if this is not an exact replay, we replay things all the time. We constantly do things over and over and over again in slightly different ways, but basically the same thing, hoping it'll be a different result. So,
Yeah. And then there's so
You could
many
make
examples of just how long you've not learned your lesson.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I could see it as being a larger overall pattern of the universe because we clearly do that as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked on Twitter, do people change? And it's like, how do you answer that in a tweet?
Yeah.
No. Yes, but no.
They upped the character limit, but I'm gonna need to make this a string.
Yeah.
Thread follows. Page
Yes.
1.
Yes.
Do
There's no
people
way.
change? Not really.
No. They can. I mean, certainly, like, I like changing. When I do something that's stupid or I realize I'm making mistakes over and over again, I like to change them, but it's only if I actually see them or somebody's pointed it out to me. So if I don't see that I'm making a mistake, I keep going. Like,
Yeah, but then
I don't because I'm human.
then you have that, or I don't know, most people might not have this ability, but when you have the ability to zoom out a bit,
Yeah.
and then you see you're actually not changing because you're fixing mistakes, and that's a pattern you have,
Yeah, that is true.
which
So.
makes it you're staying the same while changing. It's so broken.
That is true. I didn't think about it like that.
Which is fun. That you know me, I like patterns a lot, and the kind of zooming in and out of things like that, and it gets really, really weird
Yeah.
to be able to see how much you're changing, how much you're not, and it's so paradoxical.
Yes. I used to be, yeah, like there's so many things. I used to have really like horrendous anxiety and I don't anymore. But now now instead of anxiety, I use cynicism. And it's just another coping mechanism for everything.
Yeah.
It's not the same because it's not quite the same feeling, but it's reacting to the same set of circumstances. So.
And then we do get into the question where I don't really know where you might be able to help me with this one. The religious aspect of predeterminism, where God has a plan, but you have free will at the same time.
No, I have no fucking clue how that works.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew or not.
I am a very religious person, and I have no goddamn clue how that works. So there you go.
Yeah, because it gets really brain breaking on that when it's like God has a
Yeah.
plan, and it's like, but so the criminal was supposed to be a criminal, and
So, what I think, and this is what I think, so nobody come after me with a pitchfork if I'm wrong. It's not like anybody else knows, actually, so what the hell do they know? Is
they'll
that,
say they do.
well, that's true, yeah. Fair enough. That when God has a plan for your life, and if you follow the prompting for God's plan, it works out best for you, for your spiritual growth, for your emotional health, for all this other stuff. And it doesn't stop things from being bad or terrible or wrong, because there's other people around you who are interacting with you, and you don't have any control over them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you follow God's plan, then it's supposed to be your best. Now, that works all the way up until the book of Job.
Where
And
you
then it
follow God's
breaks.
plan and it's not quite the right thing to do.
And then it breaks completely, where God's like,
We're-
yeah, devil, go ahead and go fuck with his life.
Uh-huh. It was all part of the plan.
It is. You know, I mean, like, I've read Job, and
Mhm.
it's like, yeah,
I've written a short story based off that, so.
it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and his friends are all like, you must have cursed God, even though he hadn't. And it's like, the sarcasm is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway,
All right. Well, and then just to jump back to the science thing, because this one, you'll tune out but hate it and like it at the same time.
okay.
All right. So all atoms follow scientific principles and things to that effect. Yes.
Oh God.
I'm just saying.
Continue.
Yeah. Yeah. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have any idea, actually. There you go.
All right. So they do. Well, I'll just
Okay.
say it as a statement and be done with it.
Good deal.
So all the atoms within your brain act within the way they're going to act because that's what atoms do. Therefore,
Adam's gonna add him.
mm-hmm, basically.
Sorry, I had to.
No, it's actually quite fitting for this.
Okay.
So if we're just a bunch of atoms and they're just doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, then how is free will technically possible?
It's not.
And that's the running.
That's where God.
That's where the thesis
Screwed us
actually
all.
comes in. So
Okay.
if we don't have free will, then what do we really have?
Alcohol.
Yeah, but you don't have a choice in that.
Booger.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't drink it. It makes me sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So sad.
Yeah, but you not drinking it technically isn't your choice either, if that's the case.
No, it's not.
So
I
that's-
would very much like to be happily a high-functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, but see, that wouldn't be your choice either, though. That's
No.
where the thing gets dumb, and I hate it.
It would
Beca-
make life more entertaining, though.
Would it though? Then we get the dumb questions
I
like,
have 3 sons. Of course, it would make it more entertaining.
"Oh, the alcohol, yeah," but I meant the if we don't have free will, would it be more entertaining?
You know, yeah.
Because
I
then,
have 3 sons. I don't think I have any free will.
yeah, but then we have to go into societal questions like, well, is it really ethical to punish criminals?
Oh,
Because if
I don't like you. That's terrible.
because if it's not their choice that they're criminals, then why is punishing them good?
But if you have societal norms and societal rules, then you have to remove certain elements in order to keep the society functioning on a
Mhm.
semi-even keel.
But we're not.
Just be communist and kill them all.
But we're not in control of the societal norms because it's predeterminism.
I want to be communist.
You want to be communist.
Yes, we can just kill them all and solve this problem.
I want to be nihilistic and just nuke the planet.
Okay,
Just be
I can
done.
go with that.
It was mistakes were made. We'll let some other intelligence take this over.
Sounds good.
Well, see, I hate the idea of not having free will.
See, it doesn't bug me that much because don't know that it matters one way or the other.
For me, it does, though.
Why? What's it going to change?
Everything.
Okay, you don't have any free will. What does it change? What are you going to do tomorrow?
Nothing.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
If you have free will, what are you going to do tomorrow?
Something. I'm going to try to improve myself.
Well, you can always do that.
Not if I don't have free will, then I've lost the will to live at that point. It's like meaninglessness at its most essential core.
See, I'm just not that bothered about being a marionette.
See, I am.
I could be a happy Pinocchio.
I can't.
Okay.
I'm too much. I wouldn't. I'm not even a control freak, but in this aspect, I've become the biggest control freak I've ever known.
Well, I have been very happily brainwashed into loving religion, so it just doesn't bother me.
See, that might be where we differ because I don't have the religious aspect to fall back on. I have zero happiness without being in control of my own life.
See, I think I have given up that. I used to want to control my life. I'm being flippant before, but in all seriousness, you know, when you're sitting on the ground next to your children's graves, you just know you have no control. And like the only control I could have had was to never try to have them at all.
Yeah.
Or to kill them before they died.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was the only choices that I had. So it was get over that or go crazy. And I just let it go.
See, that's another part where we go backwards because if I let go of that, I go crazy.
Interesting. Well, yeah, but I mean, our personalities are different. We just handle things differently.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's not like any one person's got the right way of doing things.
No, I'm not arguing for my side. I'm just saying for me personally, the idea of not having control it will break my brain.
Okay.
Like it's done because I lose meaning at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I let it go. So I don't choose to let it bother me. There are other things that bother me much more than that one. So
Yeah,
like
I mean,
my kid leaving his backpack in the floor on the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm not
in
saying
the kitchen on the floor. Try that one again.
Not saying
Yeah.
this is a thing I dwell on in my day-to-day life. I'm just saying it's one of my existential fears.
No, that doesn't even scare me. It doesn't, because I mean, if I have no control over anything and I have no choice, it doesn't make my life any less worth living to me because I'm enjoying life. So.
But it does for me because I'm not.
No, I have no idea.
I'm saying that as a fact.
Oh, okay. You're not enjoying your life, so then
Correct.
It would be like, well, this person is this. For lack of a better way of putting it, if you're something else is controlling your life, then this person is attempting, or this deity is attempting to make you miserable.
Not just that, it's I enjoy my life to the fact that I like to fight sometimes. But the fact that I'm fighting means if I don't think there's a goal to it, if I don't think I can achieve the goal through my, sheer force of will, and everything's predetermined for it to either succeed or fail, and I have no say in the matter, then I don't care at that point because I don't have a say in it. Why the fuck should I fight?
I don't have an argument to that.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by it, so I like to fight because predetermined I was born disagreeable. So I asked that question in a group of empaths. I'm like, how many of y'all are, and these are empaths who survived narcissistic abuse, okay? How many of y'all are agreeable? Because I'm kind of betting a lot. And it was a mixed bag of people who were agreeable or disagreeable. But
see, I would have thought that agreeableness would have been something of a requirement for large doses of empathy?
You'd think so, but I have pathological empathy, and I am highly disagreeable. So,
Are you?
yeah.
I thought you were
Yeah.
agreeable.
No, I retook it.
Uh-huh.
I retook it, and actually, I was in a mood to look nicely at myself when I
Mhm.
took the test the first time.
Yeah.
So I think I was trying to make myself societally seem nicer than I actually am.
Yeah, there's definitely some conscientious
So-
bias in that.
Yeah. So, because you pointed it out to me, you're like, I can't believe you. When you told me that, you're like, I can't believe you're that agreeable. And it's like, oh, yeah. Did I accidentally booger this test up? And I did. I did booger that test up.
Mhm.
So, upon further reflection, I am actually a fairly disagreeable person.
Okay.
Not like not on the very extreme, but I'm reasonably disagreeable.
Yeah.
So like
I don't
more than
remember where I
75th
fell on that.
percentile or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, you would think so, but I'm just ornery.
Mhm.
And so part of the orneriness is being intelligent, and I'm not like smart like my kids are smart, but I am fairly smart, and it that will make you stubborn and disagreeable. So there you
Okay.
go.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I learned that today. I learned all kinds of things today. I'm so smart. Anyway, yeah. So, but I'm very low in neuroticism. Like that was extremely low,
Mhm.
and that one I think was accurate.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's all these kids in my. I have 6 kids. Everybody out there listening needs to feel sorry for me right now. I have 6 kids in my house right now, and will for a while, and it is a hodgepodge of hormones and insanity, and I feel like my skin is being clawed open by fire ants. So
I had
that's what empathy really is. It's not fun.
No. Yeah, I mean, even on intellectual empathy, it sucks because you can assign thoughts to people.
Yep.
Usually
Yeah.
correct, but having their thoughts in your head just sucks.
No. Yeah, I have that happen too, but with the kids, there are no like cogent thoughts. My 14-year-old has cogent thoughts. Like he's actually intelligent,
Mhm.
but the 12-year-olds and the 10-year-old are just stupid walking balls of insanity.
No, they
And-
have thoughts.
They don't have thoughts that are worth thinking.
Not worth thinking, but they have thoughts. That's what I was getting at. Is whenever I would have to deal with my friends, 5-year-old, and
Uh-huh.
I kind of know what they're thinking, and it just makes me dumber. Because I'm like, I don't need your thoughts in my head.
Nope. Okay, so today is the 4th of July, and we're outside, and I had my car keys sitting in the pocket of my camp chair,
Hmm.
and my husband sets off a firework, and the car alarm starts going off. So he pulls out his keys and tries to stop the car alarm, and he stops it, and then it goes off again. And then he stops it, it goes off again, and he keeps going. And then he finally looks at me, and he's like, "Who's got the keys?" And he's like, "They're in my pocket." And I turn, and my 5-year-old is pushing the alarm button.
Well, yeah, it makes noise.
I got quite a dirty look for that one, but I was not doing it on purpose.
We'll
So
see.
even though they make you dumber, they're quite funny. So
We'll see. On top of that, you can go with the predetermined argument to be like, well, the kid was just meant to do that.
he was meant to do that.
See, I can see how having kids would make you okay with predeterminism. Because at that point, you'd be like, well, that's just what they do.
It is what they do. It's totally what they do. So yeah.
Yeah, nothing I do will change this. It's just what they do.
Exactly. You know what? That really is the truth. They're just gonna be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over again. Why did you lick the shopping cart handle? Seriously, you are 8 years old. Why did you do that? And then your next kid who's 8 years old does it to you, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Are you all this stupid?
See, it's just the neurons firing the way they're supposed to be firing.
Yeah.
Or misfiring the way they're supposed to be misfiring.
Somebody
However,
was like,
however you want to say that one.
somebody was mad at their mother-in-law. She took their kids for a weekend. The kid came back puking, and
Mm.
she's like, "Should I confront her?" And it's like, your kid, my kid licks shopping cart handles.
Mm-hmm.
My kid is too big to do that. They're 10. It's like, oh yeah, honey. My kids are extra special. They continue to lick shopping cart handles at 10. Good for you. Anyway, yeah, so predetermined. I think that they are predetermined to lick those shopping cart handles so that they can get all the germs in that they need.
Very well may be the case. Like, when I was 5, I did things like eat dirt.
Yeah, vitamin dirt, man, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I say that to people, and they look at me like I'm crazy.
And then I used to eat cigarette butts out of ashtrays.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know.
So, and that very well could be a biological thing where the immune system is trying to be built.
You know?
You could actually be predetermined to do stupid shit as a kid.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. So, but, I mean, you could say, so maybe not all predetermined, but, you know, like,
Well,
predisposed. That's the way I'm looking to put it. That
Well,
predisposed to do stuff like that because your brain instinctively knows you need the immunotherapy.
hmm well, that can be argued. It's just you're living within certain systems that you don't have control over, i.e., hormones, or
Yes.
possibly just the biological needs of needing an immune system. So you're automatically disposed to do really weird stuff as a kid.
Yep. Yep.
So I can see the argument that the systems have a heavy influence on things, and that doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, you would assume that if you've survived this long, your ancestors are giving you, what is that thing called? Where, like, memories or whatever are being passed down in
Oh.
your RNA. Or,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what it's called either, but that's okay.
Just
So,
the
you know,
hereditary aspect of
yes. So if they
knowing what to
survived
do.
and it was good for your ancestors, then you would want to listen to it even if you have no conscious memory of it.
hmm Except for certain things. Certain things go against biological, or not biological. Certain biological systems go against societal systems.
Yeah.
For instance, especially with men, fuck everything.
Yeah. AIDS. Syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
I recently heard that Hitler had syphilis. It's like, that would explain things. At least at the very end.
Possibly.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that whole memory thing,
Mm-hmm.
like some people will be afraid of drowning or whatever because somebody in their past drowned or whatever. I had this friend in high school who could not drive over bridges that went over water. She would close her eyes to drive over them.
I had a girlfriend
Somebody
who
else
would
would
do
have to
that.
steer. And it's like, you are going to kill us, everybody else, and yourself. This is not helpful.
And the
And
girl,
she was one of the worst drivers I'd ever met.
yeah, the girl I used to date who did that, it was so bad it didn't matter the size of the bridge. Like, we would go on back roads where, there would be a bridge that consisted of like 10 wooden planks.
Uh-huh.
Like barely your car fit on these bridges.
Yeah.
She would freak out.
Oh.
And it was like, the water was 2 feet below. It was like
Yeah.
driving over a ditch. She couldn't handle it. It was
Jeez Louisa.
fascinating to watch.
I can imagine.
Because I don't have a fear like that.
No. I don't love close spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't love heights.
Well,
But
see, I have
I'm-
fears. I don't have a fear like that. Like,
No, yeah. My closed spaces one, I will have nightmares about it. It's something that really bothers me, but I just keep, so like we had a chance to go to a cave this summer and I made myself go in and go caving
yeah.
because that's the way I roll.
Mhm.
I'm not going to. So that is something like I legitimately have nightmares.
See, that's
But
still sounds like a fear, though.
yeah, it's not a phobia.
Yeah, because she would literally stop at the bridge and then have to talk herself into either not turning around or chancing the bridge, which would take quite a while to do.
See, I think this is where my disagreeableness comes in because because I don't let things like that stop me
Hmm.
because I'm too damn stubborn
Yeah.
and it's not rational. So I'm just not going to let it be a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
What?
mean, but I agree that it's not a phobia. It might have been if I'd nurtured it or let it go that way.
Yes. That's what I was about to. I the closest I can relate to that kind of phobia is when I had severe anxiety and
Hmm.
like things like getting out of the car to go back into work after a lunch break would reduce me to like gasping for breath and tears.
Interesting.
It wasn't a fear or a
Hmm.
phobia. It was just anxiety of
Yeah.
that thing at that point.
Yeah.
So that's the closest approximation I could have to it. And I can't imagine that because that happened, once, maybe twice, just
Hmm.
a handful of times
Hmm.
in different scenarios without a
Yeah.
specific trigger. I can't
Yeah.
imagine having a specific trigger.
Yeah, that would be pretty terrible. Anxiety is no joke, man. I am not sorry I don't have any
Yeah,
anymore. It
uh,
was not fun.
I'm glad I've cut mine out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really it's
And
miserable.
and I agree with the disagreeableness on being able to cut those kind of things out.
Yeah.
Because at the time of it, it was
Right?
really easy to be like, okay, this is just my life and it sucks and I'm going to have to deal with it. And then later on, I'm like, no, fuck that. I have
Yeah.
control of this and I'm going to change it because things are not predetermined.
Fair enough, man.
Just to round it back to the topic.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so set against it is just my disagreeableness with it. It's like, nope, I'm in control. Fuck you. I don't care what anything else. I don't. Nope. It's gonna be one of those things where I just nope out of it without any rational thought.
It's another part of being disagreeable.
Yep.
It's like I
And
put up with a lot of stuff until I realized you're batshit crazy, and then it's like, nope, I'm done with you.
mm-hmm.
Peace out, man.
And you know me and my love for rational thought. So for me to have a topic where I can say nope, I don't care about the rational thought,
Yeah.
that might give you an idea of how set against something I am.
It's fair enough.
Because
You know what though?
what?
I don't think it matters. So I think you can just be whatever you want it to be because we're not gonna know.
No.
We're never gonna know.
All the
So,
evidence does point one way, though.
oh no, go for it.
No, all the evidence points towards things are predetermined and we don't have much free will.
Interesting.
That's why I'm
Well,
saying I have to ignore my rational thought of where the evidence points and say nope.
why does the evidence point that way?
Because no other evidence exists for it to point the other way. We know how atoms work. We know how all of that builds together. And to say that consciousness has a direct influence over nature, we would need evidence to show that consciousness does have that sort of power, and there's nothing there. There's no telepathy. There's no, you know what I mean. There's nothing to say that consciousness actually has an effect. It's more likely that the idea of consciousness is just a construct that we've built for ourselves over the millions of years to just function as animals.
Hmm. Okay, that's
So,
kind of cool.
yeah, so the evidence points towards, yeah, we're just consciously playing out the play.
Huh. That breaks my brain a little bit.
Shakespeare got it right, in other words. All the world's a stage.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay. Huh.
And we're
Well,
merely actors.
yeah. Ah, I swear I was smarter and could read people like Jung, and then I'd be way better at talking about this, but I'm not that smart. I like studied him in college, man, and that was hard.
Hmm.
He is wicked. So, I think it fitting that in undergraduate we really didn't have to read much of his stuff because it was assumed we were too damn dumb. Yeah. So, well, I'm okay with it. But if you are not, that is fine.
Hmm. Which,
You do you.
yeah, and even with me not being fine with it, I can at least admit I'm not being rational. And I can say,
Yeah,
I'm not fine with it, and I don't care.
that's okay.
Uh-huh.
We are in a snowflake society. You are allowed to do whatever you want to, as long as you're not hurting the actual liber. Oh my gosh, my tongue just broke. Liberal snowflakes.
Yes, I identify with the free will being.
There you go.
My pronouns, sir.
Oh. Mhm.
I'm just gonna stop there. I can't go any farther than that without
Yeah.
laughing too hard.
I mean, like, I actually just don't even care, you know? Like,
Mhm.
I have, yeah. Just leave me alone. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about my latest project because it has been an entertaining ride so far. With,
That it has.
yeah, so I started this story about something that actually happened to me in real life. My friend and I got together a few months back, well, probably like 8 or 9 months now. And I was in the middle of other projects and really just couldn't start anything else. And we were talking about this person that we had known and all of the ways that things had gone horrendously wrong with her in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to make sense of what had happened because I'm far enough out. I cut this person out of my life a long time ago, like 7 or 8 years ago. But the other person didn't cut her out until recently, like in the past year or two. So she had much more damage done to her over the years than I did. But trying to reconstruct what had gone on and how and why things had gone so badly. And I don't think either of us has a really good idea of what all the motivations from this person were for intentionally attempting to ruin people's lives and for all of her insanity. And I'm writing this book and I'm putting details in there that are fake, but at the same time it was so crazy, all of it could have been real. So I don't have any plans. So when we were discussing predeterminism, as the author, I should have an idea of where the book is going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Like Malcolm Gladwell said something like, it's really easy, where people spend too much time worrying about how to start a book without figuring out how to finish it. And it's like, I didn't have any idea how to start it, and I have no idea how to finish it, and I have no idea what the characters are going to do, and I'm the one writing it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those circumstances where I'm completely lost and I'm supposed to be the one driving.
Mm-hmm.
And so is this predetermined? Well, I'm kind of hoping that I figure out what went wrong in the process of writing it. Because I still don't know. I don't have any idea. I just know that I went, oh, she's crazy, and cut her out. Because that's how I am.
Yeah.
So.
No, and the motivations are fairly simple, if not weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've had a lot of conversations on her up to this point.
Yes.
With my take on the thing. And the motivations are really weird to get into because in their head, they're not acting in malice.
Yeah.
And it's only
Yeah.
in their head that's taking place. But
Uh-huh.
it's really weird to be able to justify anything you do. But
Yeah.
that type of personality can. And it's not a conscious justification. They're not attempting to alleviate themselves of guilt. They have no guilt. Because they're quote unquote doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And because they know better and they can run the world and everyone else should follow them.
This is just this. Mm-hmm.
Now, to get in that mindset is really difficult if you're anything somewhat normal.
I struggle with this a lot. Like, this character keeps doing and saying insane and awful things,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they are sometimes, and actually often, insane and awful things that I have thought myself. It's not like I'm innocent in this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who's proof. You're reading along with me as I go, and I have another friend who's reading along as we go, and she said I could be this person.
Yes.
And that's where it's scary. Like, you're okay. This could be me. This could easily be me. What's
Mm-hmm.
stopping me from being this monster?
No, to make it even more weird or scary, that person was me at one point.
Ooh,
In certain
interesting.
aspects, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is why I can understand the character a little bit better. And it's like, yeah, I used to do that.
And why did you do it?
Because I was right. In that
Okay.
in that moment of time in my head, I was right and knew better than anybody and everybody else.
Sure, just reasons.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just that's how it was in my head. That's how it got built out.
Huh.
It's a natural thought process,
Yeah.
and it's a horrendous one.
Yeah.
And if you never learned for it, like my excuse is, I was in my early 20s and I was dumb, and
Yeah.
I grew up from that.
Yeah. Younger than 25, and we just go, oh yeah, prefrontal cortex.
Mm-hmm. And mine was when I was younger than 25 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was quite different when I was younger than 25. It was an awful, awful time that I will never return to. I'm glad for it.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. So interesting. I mean, yeah, I've been that arrogant, and at points in my life. Like, there are so many times in this story, the character continuously contradicts herself, continuously is hypocritical.
Yeah.
And I am not actively doing that. That is not me planning that out. It's just beautifully happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this thing is legitimately taking me for a ride.
Yeah.
I don't have any ideas. And I've never had this exact experience happen with this story. I typically know where I'm going. And I just finished a section today, and the one that I sent to you, and I had an entire plan worked out for that section. I had it all worked out. I thought about it last night before going to bed, and then I refined it this morning before I got out of bed. That's when I do my best thinking, because it's quiet and there's no insane little people running around.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't get in there. It didn't appear magically on the page like it was supposed to. It was supposed to be there. I had a plan, and it was gone. Like, what the heck?
Well, see, like when I'm writing, it's I have a slightly different process than the one you're talking about, but it's not that far off.
Okay.
As in, so I have to have an outline.
Yes.
I just do. But my outline consists of, it's basically a writing prompt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super detailed. If I super detail an outline, I'll never write that project because I'm bored with it immediately.
Yeah.
But if I just have a writing prompt, and especially whenever it concerns characters getting out something psychological, the writing prompt will consist of something like character A confronts character B. That's all I have.
Okay.
And then my writing prompts are the way I outlined that it has to go for 1,000 words. It's 1,000 word prompts Yeah. It's naughty writing prompts is what my outline consists of.
Okay.
So, especially when it comes down to characters like that, it's like, all right, y'all have a fight. And then I get to deal with it whenever I'm in the writing aspect of
Fair enough.
it. Yeah.
No, I had this totally other plan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I was not going to focus on the one insane character at all. I was going to have her be like a paragraph or two in the story, and then she ended up taking up 3/4 of it.
Well, yeah, that's because that's the psychology of the character.
Yes.
She inserts herself and takes up the spotlight.
Yes, she does. It's maddening. Like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, which is, just to give, it's not a spoiler, but it's the character who said I had to go and then turned off the phone.
Uh-huh.
It's because they knew that she was about to be blown up on her phone. Because that's what the character does.
Yes. Like, this is how bad this was. I had to have the character turn the phone off so that the character would shut up, because she wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Because that's what the person would do.
Yeah. I'm the friggin' author. I'm supposed to be in charge of this. I had no control. She just kept going.
Yeah.
She just kept going and tearing into her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And I felt torn into.
Yeah. Because it was your character taking over your project at that point.
Yes.
Which was the exact same behavior that the person did.
So, let's talk predetermination here, because my characters are they are ruling my life.
Mm-hmm.
They are calling all the shots here. And I don't even have any idea what they're going to do. Like, about the only thing I can control is the weather.
You're right.
That's about the only thing I can control, which is hilarious, because I have no idea how to do that in real life.
I was going to say, we're going opposite of real life here. The only thing you have control of is the weather.
Yes. How does that happen?
I don't know, but it's a fun concept.
Oh my gosh. Because, I just want it to continue snowing. So it continues to snow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, to give some insight into our personality differences, if I have a character like that, I will kill them.
But she's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's terrible, and I hate her, and I can't wait to see what she does next.
Yeah.
So...
See, I got that old writing I don't know how old it is. It's an old writing tip I learned from Chuck Palahniuk. It was like, take your favorite character and rename them. Why? Why? Because it's your favorite character, and you need to show you're in control of your own project, and you can do what you want.
That is true. I don't really want to rename her, though, because...
No, I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying...
Favorite movie homage.
Like, the way you're playing it out is very much a sandbox, which is very fun to do. Where it's like, I created the characters, I have the starting of the plot, and now let's just see how it plays out.
Yes.
Which I've done once, and it drove me nuts, and I quit the project.
Wow.
But that's just me, because I didn't have control, and therefore I got tired.
Yeah. No, I am really enjoying this, and I don't have any idea where it's going or what's going to happen or anything like that. And there is something very liberating about letting go of the control of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just being like, okay, let's see what happens. So, the friend I wrote this kind of for has not yet read it, and I'm very curious to see what she says after she does.
Yeah, I'll be interested in that one as well.
Yeah, she's been really busy, with kids, and she just started her own business, and so there's things in life, it happens, but it's one of those circumstances where it's like, okay, if she really hates it, that's going to be a problem, right? Because she is not in the story. I would say I am more in the story than she is, but there's going to be one or two things that are a lot like her life. So she's got to, she's got to
Sign
take
off.
ownership of that fact. Yeah, she's got to be able to go, okay, I can do this. Because not that I expect it to affect her, but it. Yeah.
Well, to some degree.
It's hidden enough about the connection that I cannot imagine anybody will put it together.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's not in it. I have a friend who's getting divorced, and her husband is in it way more than the original friend is. Because her husband was just so fascinating, and it's like, yeah, let's go with that. I'm helping her clean out of her house, and my 10-year-old goes, Mom, why are there wine glasses in the computer case? Like the computer towers?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what? He's like, there's no wine glasses in there because I would have heard them or something. And I wasn't even paying attention. He's like, no, don't put it in. I was loading it into the truck. And he's like, there's a wine glass in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked, and there was 2 beer bottles. So he was hiding beer bottles in the computer towers. And I got rid of like 5 computer towers. I'm like, why?
Hey,
why did you do this?
I'm trying to form a sentence around that.
Right? Who the hell does that? What grown-ass man in his own house his wife did not care if he was drinking, by the way. She didn't care. Who does that?
I'm just trying to figure out why the computer tower. Why not the trash can? I don't.
Right.
I would rather leave it on the computer desk than, like...
Put it in a computer tower that you had hidden in a back room.
Not even that. It's just like, why the computer tower?
You had to work to put it in there.
Yeah,
what
I was
were
like,
you thinking?
Even the easiest like gaming PC that has like the snap-off side computer tower thing where you just press a button and it opens up, that's still effort. That's way more effort than I would go through to hide most anything.
Yes. Thank you.
I have a trash can directly behind me just out of laziness.
Exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, there were just... And when I told his wife, I'm like, look what we discovered in there. And she's like, yeah, that's totally stuff he does. And it's like, who the hell were you married to?
That's like squirrel behavior. That's hoarder shit that I can't wrap my head around.
Yes, there is some hoarderness to it, too. So he got pissed at her and said she could throw all her stuff away. And it was like I'd been told I can't go to Disneyland because I truly enjoy throwing shit away. Like, that makes me happy. Happy. So we donated and threw away stuff, and I got rid of all of the stuff out of their house that was his. She had his car because he had the kids, so he had the minivan. And we loaded this filing cabinet. The two of us loaded this filing cabinet full of his papers into the trunk of the car. And it barely closed, and I'm not entirely sure how we got it out. But it was tax papers, so we couldn't throw those away.
Yeah.
We did, however, make him take them because he wasn't going to get it. I mean, he had to have gotten help to get it out. And yeah, I am possibly a little spiteful. That might be something. My friend was she was not psyched about confronting him with all this stuff. And I was like, just tell him I did it.
Yeah.
Please, dear God, let him come after me. That sounds like a very entertaining conversation.
Right.
So this is where I think that I really fudged the agreeable part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am not an agreeable sort. I love that I was lying to myself and said I was, but I'm not. I can be. I am a very good actor, but I'm not actually agreeable. So anyway, yes, her husband made it in, and I embellished him quite a bit and changed him because I didn't actually want him in it, but he's way fun. So my other friend just makes like semi appearances in a couple of different characters for different personality traits. But I mean, if you're friends with a writer, you're gonna make it into a book. Unless you're really boring, you're going to be in a book.
You still might make it into the book if you're really boring.
That is true.
Just saying it. I can turn that into a character.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just a hazard of being friends with an author. because you're,
Either
yeah.
if you're not there, something in your life is there, and if something in your life isn't there, then some quirk you have is there.
Hmm.
Authors steal everything.
Yep. As they said in Gilmore Girls, all fodder for the tell-all.
Hmm.
So I've been saying to my son whenever the teenager, because of course, teenagers, he'll be like, he'll say something. It's like, Mom, oh no, I'll say something like, you lost your baby when we lose the 5-year-old because he wanders off often.
Hmm.
You know, I'm an amazing parent. I just am. I totally am. But anyway, I'll say to the teenager, you lost your baby, and he'll be like, he's not mine, he's yours. And it's like, fodder for the tell-all, baby. Go find him. So, yes.
I'm still trying to figure out the thought process of putting a beer bottle in the computer tower. I can't get over this. Because you know me, I do thought patterns really well, and I can't get into this one.
I know.
I
Why?
I,
Oh,
I'm don't have. I just it doesn't work.
no.
To
It's
go,
totally crazy.
I have an empty beer bottle. I'm going to go through the effort to get up, take the bottle somewhere, open a computer tower, put it in, reclose it, and then he had to be drunk. It's
Um,
the only thing I can come up with.
there were 2 beer bottles in there, so maybe he's lightweight. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he threw away the
It
other.
wasn't relatched. He didn't screw the tower back together again. So possibly it was just open and there was no trash can?
Yeah, but like I said, you have to be drunk to be able to just go with the thought process of, okay, I'll put it here. Because
I
there's no sanity to go. I have a beer bottle. I'm going to put it in a computer.
I don't know.
Like that's not a
No.
rational thought
No, it's not.
ever.
It's not.
There's something broken there, and
It
I can't get my head into it.
Nope. I'm with you on that one.
I can understand psychopaths killing people before I can understand this.
Totally understand. I mean, that's reasonable. I get it. Yeah. I I that's why I didn't believe the 10-year-old when he said to me, they're wine glass. And he didn't know it. I mean, like, he kind of
Yeah,
probably did know, but he was assuming they were like wine glasses. And it's like,
yeah.
but I didn't believe him because why the hell would I? That sounds stupid.
He-
Why would there be a wine glass in a computer tower?
mm,
God, my poor
to
friend.
to to
She
be
was married to that.
to be as fair as I possibly can. Beer bottle makes more sense than wine glass.
It does. I agree. I
that's,
absolutely agree.
that's the limit I'm going to go with that.
Oh, yeah. Hmm. I have, being a religious person, and also, like, I believe in families, and we should try and stick it out and work it out and everything like that. And I've really never, s- never really said to somebody, you should just divorce him.
Mm.
And I totally said that to this friend. I'm like, when she's like, I'm ready to get divorced, I was like, hallelujah, let's have a party.
Well, see, I'm in a weird position where I'm not religious, but I believe in family and that people should stick together. Except I
Yeah.
think society has deviated too far to that's an automatic presumption anymore.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
just the way that new generations act, men and women, I should note that
Hmm.
I can't automatically assume anyone should stick with anyone at this point.
Yeah. And I also need to emphasize that this was the person, like, I had not known somebody who was being abused physically.
Mm,
Um, so, or really emotionally, so I didn't have any basis for being like, yeah, just bail.
yeah.
She was being abused emotionally, so,
Mm,
which is not really surprising because he's a dumbass who hides beer bottles in computer towers and stole signs from the Chick-fil-A he worked at for things like men's bathrooms. And he had them in his stuff from high school.
hang on, I'm trying to process again.
Uh-huh.
This
I'm like,
is
what the hell? I'm looking at my friend going, why is it? She's It's like, oh yeah, if they were throwing them out because they were replacing them or whatever, he'd just take them and keep them. Like,
But why?
I don't know. I know, and it was a decade. He had this stuff in their basement, not in their basement for a decade because they hadn't lived in the house for a decade, but he'd had it in high school, and then he'd moved with it, and then he'd moved again with it and kept it through college, and then he'd moved again with it and continued keeping it. So it is hoarding, but yeah.
See, but nope. Just no. Nope and how that one again. I can't understand hoarding. To some degree. To some degree I can, but on
Yes.
certain things like that. Nope.
What was the point?
Yeah. It's, that I think that gets to the point of certain mental behaviors or deficiencies where there's no rationality to be had, and that's where my brain just shuts down. It's like,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah. His oldest son watched us clean, and his oldest son is only 6.
Mhm.
Okay, so I had to be really careful because hoarding runs in their family, so it was going to be a problem.
Right.
So he watched us clean, but could not participate in it.
Mhm.
He was not able to psychologically work through that until the very, very end, and then he started to help. And I told him, like, we were getting rid of all this stuff, and he didn't want to get rid of even the trash. So
Yeah.
we had to do a lot of conversations of, like, well, this is, if this was a dirty tissue, we wouldn't keep it, right? And that made sense to him.
Mhm.
But,
Well, at least that part made sense.
Yeah, at the very end, I mean, we got rid of an entire basement full of stuff. And I told him, I'm like, I'm going to take all of this to donate to its new house. Actually, I didn't even tell him that because we couldn't tell him that because he would have freaked. So we said that we were taking it to the place that Daddy told us to take it to.
Right.
Which is true because his dad had said, just donate it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I will come back with a surprise for you.
Well.
And I came back with a cozy coop, like the little yellow and red car thing that little kids like, the little Tykes car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came back with one of those for him. And we went over the fact that sometimes when you get rid of a bunch of old stuff, you can get something new.
Mm-hmm.
So, to keep the mindset healthy. But he wanted very much to go hoarder on me and have a fit. So it was very interesting.
Well, see, that's where it also goes back to breaking my brain because it's like, if it was a true hoarder tendency, then how did he go, just get rid of it all?
She really pissed him off.
So, like, that's where I'm getting is, again.
It might not be a true hoarder situation, but it definitely was running in the family.
But it kind of was because he had trash from 10 years ago.
Yes.
And beer bottles and PCs.
I don't think he really realized what he was doing because we threw away a bunch of video games.
Oh, why?
I mean, we didn't throw them away.
Oh, okay.
My other friend who was helping us took them to a GameStop and sold them all for $100.
Okay, that works better.
Yes. So. Mhm.
Yeah, you were about to offend me at that point.
Well, no, we
Just
did.
kidding.
There were a bunch of PC games that already had their registration used. So we were informed that those were just dead.
Yeah.
That there was nothing to do with them. So those did get thrown away, but other stuff got sold.
Well, only partially dead. Someone could have cracked them.
Okay, but there was no retail value for them, so.
No, there wasn't. You could have sold them on eBay though. Maybe.
Well, that was
Not
a
for
lot of
much.
effort.
Garage
That was a
or
lot of
something.
effort for them.
Yeah, you can just throw those away.
Yeah.
They were on disc.
So.
Most PCs don't even have a CD drive anymore.
Yes, basically. So yeah, yeah. So he's going to continue making appearances, and I don't know. Like, he's going one way in the story that I kind of like and respect, but I don't know that he's going to continue going that way.
Right.
I don't know. What is he going to do? Because you know who I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the story.
Mm-hmm.
And the last move that he made was pretty positive.
Yeah.
But is it going to stay that way?
Probably not.
I don't know.
Just because I can't assign rationality to him, you're gonna have to write some kind of happy ending if you want him to go that way.
Yeah.
But even with
I
that, I don't know.
part of me wants to make it go right, and another part of me wants to make it go very wrong and have the
Uh,
wife go back anyway.
I was about to say, don't go very wrong, because I knew that's what very wrong meant.
I don't know, but I don't know.
But then again, it's.
I didn't expect him to go this nicely in the first place.
Hmm.
He went way better than I expected him to. So we'll see.
What I was gonna
I
say
mean,
is
like,
that that's the sort of the shoe I've been waiting for. Like, this story has been very, very human in a
yeah,
way, and then I'm waiting for it. Like, anytime something nice happens in the story, I'm waiting for it to go very, very human again. Which is to say, to shit.
yeah, and it kind of does.
Mm,
Like, I had started making some of the characters nice, like actually good characters, and then they all just started to go a little nutty on me.
mm-hmm.
All in slow, and like some of them, it's been consistent all the way through. They were always crazy. More than one. One of them's just crazy because she's crazy, and one of them, like, oh, the husband of one of them, you want to hate him, but then he does amazing things, and you're like, do I actually hate him? And he's probably the only one that I know his motivations. Like, I figured out what it was that was driving him reasonably early on. And I'm getting to the reveal of that not too far in the future. And I cannot. And his wife is one that's just insane. And I don't know what she's going to do. And I don't think it's going to be good
Probably
when
not.
she figures it out. But I don't know that for sure. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I started writing, and then I got to the place where this particular character had to react, and I didn't know how she was going to react, and I had to stop writing until how she reacted came to me. So I don't know. So human determinism.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing.
Well, see, that's the other fun part is if everyone's just acting the way they should act, then are they crazy?
I don't know. I guess not.
Should they be held responsible?
I don't. Mm,
Yes, is the answer.
yes, but no. Yes, they should be, because there are still consequences to other people. Now, if your craziness is only affecting you, then you're holding yourself responsible, and then it doesn't matter. So, did that make sense?
Somewhat.
Okay. So, like, if I'm living off in a cabin in the woods and nobody's around me and I am completely batshit crazy, the only person I'm making miserable, potentially, is myself.
Mm.
So, I would not need to be held accountable for whatever I was doing because I was not actually inflicting damage on anybody else.
Mm.
No?
Depends.
But who's going to know that you're causing damage? That's the other thing. What if nobody knows?
Well,
The universe would know, and it would get back at you.
I don't believe in karma.
Well, fair enough. But if nobody knows that you're doing crazy crap like sacrificing kittens, then does it really matter?
It does to the kittens.
It does, but what if nobody knows?
Well, it's still a crime.
Yes. Lots of crimes go unpunished.
Very true, but should they? Is the question.
No. It's like that poor kid in Washington State whose friends lured him into the woods and then beat the crap out of him and raped him before killing him and burying him out there. It's like, what the hell? What was their motivation? That's what I want to know. What is your motivation?
Depends. I mean, I hate to give that vague of an answer, but it really does. I mean, it could have been, did they rape him then kill him? Then are they just trying to hide the rape?
They raped him with a stick.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems more of like wanting to humiliate him.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they were trying to humiliate him and went too far, and they decided to just kill him because that was easier.
Mm-hmm. It, that becomes easier than dealing with answering the question of why did you do this?
Why do we do the things we do? Because it's predetermined?
Could be. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes into play with the system idea. Was it just their genetics that was kicking in and this is bullying to such a degree that it goes entirely too far?
So if it's not predetermined, then you go back to like, okay, maybe it's societal, and they were trained into this.
Well, that's the other thing is I think science agrees it's half and half ish.
Yeah. My mom, bless her heart, said with all the Southern charm I could work up, had a very long discussion with me about how video games are so addicting and terrible and can ruin your life and all this other stuff. And we need to be very careful about screen time. And it's not that as a parent, I don't necessarily like screen time because it makes my kids assholes. So in a purely selfish way, I'd like my life to be easier and my kids not to be assholes.
Mm.
But she's explaining all of this to me as she's buying soda for my nephew and niece
Mm-hmm.
because they can't do without it.
Yes, I can.
I'm like, you're causing obesity, diabetes, you're feeding cancer cells, all the things with the soda.
Not even that. It's excuse me. It's the sugar is also affecting the chemicals within the brain and body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're addictive.
Mm-hmm. They're legitimately addictive.
They cause
but you cannot see it.
Actual problems. Where
yes.
Video games do not.
Well,
we can argue.
They do. They do. When they've watched too much TV or done too much screen time or whenever they become too inactive and they become assholes. So it's a thing. It's not necessarily the
kids.
Yes, it's not necessarily the thing. Like, yeah. Oh my gosh. So.
Like, I've seen kids who have entirely too much screen time, but
they're totally fine.
They're docile. Yeah, they're normal.
That's not my kids. Yeah, my kids can't even eat carbs without going crazy. So we have problems. And when you have gifted kids, they're just a problem anyway. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, I would like to have a smart kid. And it's like, no, you don't. You have no idea what you're saying.
You really don't.
You have no idea what you're saying.
You want a average kid is what you want.
Or a slightly above average kid. You know?
Maybe, yeah.
Like slightly above average. That's what you really want. You don't actually want.
What?
Yeah.
That's where you start drilling down. You might want them a little more.
110 IQ.
Yeah, 110 IQ. A little bit more athletic.
Yes. That's what you really want. You don't want to hit the 130s, the 140s, 150s. You do not want that.
No.
Because when you do that, you often hit the other things that go along with it, including autism, ADHD, and all these other letters that go with it. So yeah, but she's
the highest end of the athletic pool because you start to get ultra hormones at that point and violence and aggression. Too much testosterone.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things into this, and she just so anyway. But she's legitimately telling me all these things while buying things that are bad for her grandkids for them. Telling me I need to control what her grandkids are doing while intentionally hurting their bodies.
Yes.
Like, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But she's addicted, so she doesn't know better.
Mm-hmm.
She's addicted to soda.
That's one of those. It's I know the mindset. It's much more of the state type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where the food groups are still a mess, but they're accepted.
It's crazy. You have a ghost in your house. Your dog is going crazy.
It's fireworks and they hate them.
Yeah. I saw this thing about like we can't stop your neighbors from setting off fireworks. They're allowed to. It's totally legal. However, if at 7 a.m. this noise ordinance ends at 7 a.m. So if you would like to gather together a troop of kazoo wielding 8-year-olds and hype them up on sugar to blast songs at your neighbors from your property line, we will not stop you. It's like, that's kind of awesome.
As long as it's not illegal, you can do it.
Exactly. I like fireworks. I don't mind them.
Yeah, I don't mind
So,
them. Even if I do live on a lake and they're going off repeatedly right now.
yeah. I can't hear them, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm not that close. If I was
Yeah.
recording from the other side of the house, you would be able to hear them.
Mm-hmm. So, if my mom is predetermined to make sugar addicts out of all of us, and she did a very good job with me. Certainly, I was an addict
Mm-hmm.
until I got sick enough that it was not a thing I could do anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like my nieces and nephew, and all, I mean, so many kids I know are suffering from anxiety and all this other stuff, and it's like,
Well,
we've
yeah.
gotten into this before. I wonder how much of it is your diet.
Well, you can consistently track it from the 70s, where they fucked up the eating habits of the country.
Hmm.
And you can track depression with the increase of crap food. You can track anxiety. It's just a complete correlation.
Correlation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not causation.
I
But
don't care. It's correlate. You know what a bunch of correlations do? Create causation.
yes. So yeah, we were one of the first generations of kids born into the low fat fad,
Mm-hmm.
growing up into that. And it's like, how many of my friends,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I know,
I
you
clearly
know,
remember snackables. I think that's what they were called. You remember snackables? It was like that
ye-
horrible green box where it's like low fat candy or low sugar candy and it's full of everything else. Snackwell, that's what it's called.
snack. Well, yes, yes, yes. I don't think we had those. I just had Oreos.
The
Hydrogenated oils for the win.
I had plenty of Oreos first, and then we went to Snackwells, and then we went straight back to sugar.
Yeah, I was not an overweight child, so they weren't concerned about it.
Mm.
They that was purely genetics. It was not
Well, yeah,
anything like
I was gonna
I
say
should have been very fat.
my entire
I
family
should
was
have been
overweight,
very fat.
which
Yeah, my parents are both overweight.
mm,
So but that it's the kind of overweight that happened more later on in life. And then, it finally did catch up with me, and it started catching up with me in a big way in my 20s. But
let's see, that's how my
it
family
doesn't help
was.
that I was pregnant a lot.
It was our downfall ended up at like age 5 for some reason.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so everyone was slender up till age 5, and then everyone got overweight. That goes back to I think grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much grandparents. Grandparents are poor.
Yeah.
They didn't have much food. It was like cornbread and meat, and they worked hard jobs.
Yes.
But yeah, since they're kids, all of them got overweight relatively young.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have who are trim. Hilariously, they figured out the low carb thing way back when. So, but they all like work at it and try very hard. But their mom was um not terribly overweight. So, I mean, like just throws of it, but um yeah, much of my family is overweight.
Yeah.
Much of it.
Well,
So,
and then you go back into the predeterminism and why try to lose weight if you're just going to be a certain size anyway?
why should I bother eating healthy? I could
Yeah.
eat however I want to and die however I was supposed to and die happy.
Well,
Eating
except
cookies. You don't.
Because
you don't die happy.
You couldn't die happy. Hang on, the internet's being a butt.
Your internet's being a butt.
Someone's internet. Oh no, it's cutting out just now.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm hearing you just fine.
Okay. You were roboting.
Oops. No, I'm hearing you just fine.
Yeah, I think it's better
Yeah,
now.
no, you don't. You don't die happy. You die miserable after 10 to 15 years to 20 years of prolonged illnesses. That's what really happens. It's not fucking death. It's all roses. That drives me nuts.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and you couldn't die happy with that because you could eat cookies and just, you don't even get like the temporary happiness, mouth happiness.
No.
You go for like
No,
the
I do
straight
not.
migraine.
Yes, I do. I go straight on, full out sick. So my family, um, and my best friend and her kids are staying with us currently, and they eat corn on the cob, and I am allergic to corn. And I was upstairs while they were cooking, so I was working in my office, and I came downstairs because I'll eat dinner, and it's like, oh, I'm done. I walked in and went. I opened the door to my office and was like, I started to feel weird. What the heck is that? And then I made it down to the kitchen and saw the corn on the cob, and I was like, and then my temple started to throb, like immediately. It's like, holy crap. Well, this just blows chunks. So I went and grabbed some food out of the fridge and went back to where my air purifier is and my filtration system and sat in here and ate. It was like, so, and it's not like they don't cook corn on the cob very often, so it's not like it was supposed to be a big deal, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, it was worse though. I react worse to different things. It just depends, but this is how bad my allergies are. I was in a grocery store and I saw some chocolate sitting next to some sunscreen, and I legitimately thought I'd rather eat the sunscreen. Because the sunscreen would give me a headache than the chocolate would.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So I don't call this exactly PTSD, but it's something kind of like it. That's fairly traumatizing.
Yeah.
That's messed up. So yeah. Nope, I can't eat it. I was talking about that with saying, like, I have it really easy. I eat healthy because I have no other choice. There is no other option for me. And that makes it easy.
Yeah.
When you're forced to do it, you just do it. That's it.
When you absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that thing will hurt immediately.
Yeah.
Not long term, not whatever. Just you're going to be in immediate pain. It's easier to avoid.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
Like the first time I quit sodas. Don't you love that term? The first time.
Yes.
The
I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. Well, I probably would have said it, but you said it before me.
Yeah. So the first time, the way I was able to do it, I had to keep telling myself that it was poison. And it doesn't matter it's sweet because antifreeze is sweet, and I'm not drinking that because it's poison.
It's totally true.
I had to make that mental connection, and that worked for a while.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it up.
Yeah, it got to the point where I was like, okay, I know it's poison. I'm also a smoker, so
yes,
or also used to be a smoker. However you want to say that, I still vape, so I'm still ingesting nicotine, which is a poison, legitimately put into pesticides. So there's other hurdles for me to finally commit to and say, yes, let's get rid of all poisons, but working on it.
Yeah.
But soda
it's a work in progress.
Yeah. See, I'm improving because I've determined to. I have the free will to do that.
Totally. I can totally get behind that. Yeah. There was one. I had a party at my house, and I ate a ton of pineapple, and I didn't realize the pineapple was going to be a problem because I'd had it before and it wasn't a problem before. And by the next morning, I was in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
like childbirth level pains in my head, and
Hmm.
I was vomiting. I couldn't keep the medication down to make the headache go away.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I have. Hmm. I don't know how to form this now. So, on the Rogan Peterson interview,
Mhm.
you know how they vaguely touched on how fat may be an organ that does more than just store energy,
Mhm.
and how it may be an immunity to the crap you're putting into your body. That's
Yeah.
your way your body fights it. And
Yeah.
you were just saying you're eating completely like you should have been fat, but you weren't.
Mhm.
I wonder if this is some of the effects of that, of you not developing that kind of resistance, as
I
in not
mean,
gaining as much of the fat layer.
maybe.
Your body may be reacting in a different way at that point.
Huh. I mean, but I was okay, so this was, let's see, I started the no carb thing, or very low carb. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't no carb because I was still eating fruit at that point. I didn't give up fruit until January or so of this year, of 2018. So 2017 in April, approximately, it was like Easter weekend, and I don't remember when Easter was, April or May. I gave up eating rice, which was my last grain.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I stopped eating sugar completely.
Yeah, except
So,
for the fruit.
uh, yeah, except for, yeah, I'm sorry, white sugar. I gave up eating white sugar completely.
Yeah.
Because like there were these gummy bears that I could get that I really liked. I stopped eating them.
Uh-huh.
Um, because there was just few treats in my life. So, I was almost 170 pounds at
Mm-hmm.
that point, and I'm only 5'3", so that was not skinny.
Not skinny, but it's not the same.
It's it's not it's not that, so like I lost 40 pounds over the year.
Mm-hmm.
Easily lost 40 pounds. It wasn't even really a struggle. I mean, so I hang out around 130 pounds now, which is still heavier than I was. See, and that's the thing. Like I'm still heavier than I was, but I have less immunity to it
Mm-hmm.
now than I did when I was skinnier. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But at that point when I was skinnier, I was eating all of it, so I still had tolerances, I think, built into my body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because I legitimately, Easter would roll around and I would live on 20 Cadbury cream eggs a day.
Yeah.
Like
That
that is
sounds awful.
freaking ridiculous. Oh, it was amazing. I love Cadbury cream eggs.
I'm
You could not
okay with two.
you could not pay me to eat one now. I would not eat one for, well, no, I can't say that. I probably would eat one for $1 million, but I think it would take $1 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because and then I'd have to be ensured that I had nothing else to do for the next 3 days and I had plenty of medication on hand. And
Mm-hmm.
possibly an IV drip of medication
Mm-hmm.
so that I couldn't throw it up.
Yeah.
So that's how serious that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I love them. I just ate them and ate them and ate them. It was pretty, pretty, and I would lose weight. That was the other thing. Come Easter, I would lose like 5 to 10 pounds because all I was eating was Cadbury cream eggs.
Yeah.
And I should have just gained a ton of weight, but I didn't. I don't know why.
I don't know. At
So
that point, you might have been losing just muscle.
my body was just in starvation mode.
Like your body had no protein to maintain any muscular.
Basically, yeah.
So it ate the muscle, and there went the weight.
Yeah. It would not terribly surprise me. It was pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the allergies continue. I did not have allergies like this until I moved to the East Coast. So I went from Southern California, where there was basically no pollen, to Virginia, where there's all the pollen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I think everything just kind of got triggered from there,
Yeah.
because that's where all the real problems started. So I don't know. But I was I was determined to escape the West Coast and move east because I wanted the trees. Well, I got the trees, man, and I got all the pollen that goes with them.
Yeah. It's. I live in a tree area, so it doesn't bother me.
Yes. You know, I argued with you about Texas being green, and we finally like went along. So the areas I was thinking about was like I-10, and it can be pretty bleak. Like there are plenty of places where it's just nothing but dirt.
Yeah. It's
But
West Texas is nothing but dirt. South Texas is grass and dirt. Mid Texas is hills.
yeah.
Not as many trees.
Yeah, we drove through quite a bit of Texas though, and we did finally see trees. So
Yeah.
I take full responsibility for stereotyping the state because of I-10.
Yeah, Texas is it's 4 different countries, maybe 5.
Yes. Yes.
I live in the tree one.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, we came down into Texas from Oklahoma, and it was really pretty. There wasn't tons of trees. There was lots of grazing land, but it was beautiful. We were in the middle of a thunderstorm too, so that didn't hurt anything.
East
Because
Texas
you can see for miles.
Yeah, East Texas is just forest.
Yeah.
We're just trees.
Yeah. Yeah, we deviated off of the freeway to get to Oklahoma, so
Yeah.
it's like, hey, we're gonna go to Oklahoma because I said so. You know, good reasons.
Well, yeah.
So.
I think I've been there once, maybe twice. It's
Well, we had it.
very flat.
Yes, we had a box to check, so that was important.
Yeah. That's how I went to Arkansas not that long ago, and we hit this one section where it was just flat, nothing. And I'm like, what is this? The road was completely straight. I don't know how anyone stayed awake.
Yeah, it gets really boring. We were listening to The Great Leveler, which is this book on economics, and I think it would make more sense to read it than to listen to it because it was a lot of numbers and figures. So I think if I could see the numbers and figures, I'd do better.
Yeah.
But the kids are like, this is so boring.
So you just helped it along.
Yeah.
Flat,
So the road was boring. Yes. We made it.
Economic book.
Yeah, we made it. We were driving from San Antonio to New Orleans on I-10. And we hadn't gotten to the interesting part in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So we were on that like god-awful stretch there, and it was just like, I'm falling asleep. We got to stop.
Yeah, no, that's section.
So, yes. So we went to Malcolm Gladwell's podcast, and that was very entertaining. And we were actually, it was kind of timely because we were heading to Atlanta to go see Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthplace and everything like that. So his podcast focused a lot on race.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a good eye-opener for my kids as far as that goes. Because, Maryland is half north and half south. We are the Mason-Dixon line. So you've got a whole host of people, but you don't really have diehard Southerners where we are. So they weren't really exposed to it.
Right.
As far as that goes. So it was good. I had no idea. I came from southern friggin' California and went to southwestern Virginia. And it was like, oh, look at that. There's a Confederate flag on every other house.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what to do with this. I got home and looked at my colorful friends and went, this is interesting. You'll never believe what I just saw. Go. Yeah. So, all the things.
Oh, yeah.
But Texas is a weird place.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be if the zombie apocalypse happens. Because everybody else in their neighbor has a gun. For at least now.
At least no.
And you're not in the city, so they actually do have gun.
I was going to say, there's the vape store I go to. There's one customer who constantly comes in with his open carry pistol on his holster. All the time. And no one bats an eye at it.
Yeah. And my son just got back from Israel, and he's like, all of the So they had soldiers everywhere with are they AR-15s or AK-47s?
Israel should be M16s at this point,
Well, whatever. I clearly don't. I'm like, I was raised
or
with guns, and
MP5s.
I don't know. Like,
Should be MP5.
I legitimately just don't know because I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a gun. I know
Mhm.
how to. I know how to unload and deal with almost every gun. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean I know what the name is.
Right. I'm
Like,
not. I'm
I don't
not
need to know that
tremendously good.
child's name to know how to change their diaper. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
It's a weird analogy, but it works.
It does.
The kid can be nameless, and I will still know what to do with them.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Anyway, because I'm not going to devote brain power to something that's completely useless. I can just Google it.
But
So
yeah,
anyway, but
with
he said they
Israel,
were everywhere.
it's
He
not.
felt very safe.
And he felt what?
He felt very safe. He didn't
Oh
have a
yeah.
problem with it. He was running around Israel by himself.
Hmm.
So
I was gonna say that might not even be military. That might just be security and police force as well.
no, I think it was the military. Like they were in the military uniforms.
Yeah, but
Everybody. So not my son. My son didn't say they were military. My dad and my pastor, who know better, said that they were military.
oh, okay.
So, like, I would not expect the oldest child to know the difference, but the actual adults who know better told me that. And they told me what kind of gun it was, and I promptly forgot because no shits to give.
Hmm.
So,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
but
But yeah, he went over into Palestine and went over to went over to Jordan and had no problems at all. He
yeah.
really enjoyed it. So, but yeah, and there were plenty of people who were, on their days off had to carry a gun.
Mm.
So that's
Uh,
apparently a thing there.
yeah, it is. I mean, they're technically kind of constantly at war at this point. So
They are. I wouldn't want to live there. Like, you couldn't pay me enough. But I think visiting as a tourist sounds good.
yeah,
I could do that.
you could pay me enough to live there. It need to be a lot.
Yeah. What I found very interesting is that he went there and all of his food allergies, he had no problems eating anything. He ate all the things that he should not have been able to eat
Mm.
and did just fine. That's what's like so frustrating.
Well, yeah.
Because here in America, he came back from Jerusalem where he'd been eating bread and ate bread at a party and then some corn chips and got very sick.
Hmm.
It's like,
At that point, it's. I know you can't do this experiment, but if anyone who has ever quit all sugar wants to do an experiment, quit all sugar for 6 months and then have one slice of white bread. It tastes like cake.
interesting.
American bread, if you're not completely hooked to sugar, tastes like cake. It's the weirdest thing I've ever
Ah,
done, which, like I said, I had a good chunk where I quit everything and then I started slowly adding stuff back in because that's how that always works. The first
yeah.
piece of white bread I had tasted like fucking cake. And you can hear Europeans who visit America will say our white bread tastes like cake
Huh.
because it's that sweet and we don't know it because we're used to it.
Yeah. Wow. See, why is that a thing? In our predetermined world where we have no choices, why is that a thing?
Because sugar is addicting, which means you'll buy more bread the sweeter it is.
Yeah, but why did the Supreme Overlord God of the universe decide that it needed to be a thing?
Uh,
And only in America, by
that's
the way.
that. Well, only in America because we have the money to do it.
Okay. Europe has the money to do it.
Not as much.
Well,
To some
they have
degree.
money.
They do, but they don't know how to take advantage of money as well as we do.
Oh,
Like
they're slackers.
they have money, but they're more socialist inclined than Americans are as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know. I was hearing a conversation about the 1% that made me laugh. Where did I hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the
I don't know.
Peterson interview again?
Yeah, probably.
Might have been.
Yes.
Where
They were discussing the 1%. You have $34,000 or something like that. You are the 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Down with the
Yep.
1%. So you?
Yes. Down with me. I'm totally good with that.
Oh no, you mean the 1% of the 1%. Gotcha.
Yep.
But whenever it can,
0.01%.
yes, whenever it comes down to you, suddenly, no, that's fine.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that drives me nuts.
Mm,
People, yeah, they just don't understand. And it's hard to keep that as perspective. I'm not going to lie and say that it's not easy to fall back on going like, oh man, I wish we had more money. But who am I talking to? We have a 6-figure income. What the hell am I saying? We have plenty of money and we're fairly wise with it and everything like that. It's not that we're just blowing it on crap,
yeah.
but it's, there, yeah,
See, I'm
it
just.
goes along with the kids that are exceptional
Mm,
and have issues. They need therapies, which means in order to make their full potential, they actually have to, be trained to do stuff like have a conversation. Because my middle child, being autistic, can't have a conversation. He has to be trained to have a conversation. And I
mm,
can only do so much because I'm not a speech therapist.
yeah.
So, most of my money is going to therapies at this point. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh.
See,
So there are times where I'm like, I want more money, but
yeah.
it's not really a legitimate thing.
I'm just trying
I
to
have
get into the
excuses.
1%.
There you go. Yes. See, thank you. That's a thing. Like, you're not in the 1%. That's a reason to bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I, who didn't have enough money to pay for this specialized therapy, called up my mother and said, hey, I need money. And she wrote me a check.
Right.
That's my life. What the hell do I have to complain about? Nothing. Not a damn thing.
See, that
So
goes
there,
back to
actually,
the.
I do, because my food allergies really do suck.
Yeah, that does.
That I
come
can
back.
legitimately complain about, but I don't because
But to be
it's
fair,
special for me.
well, I was gonna say, but you can afford to eat the way you need to eat,
I can.
which is a
I
good thing.
absolutely can. That makes all the difference in the world. I can afford it, and I mean, quite possibly, that even if we were at the poverty level, I would still be able to do it because I would just eat very, very, very simply.
Yeah.
But, and I would take the pain. Like, I don't do as well with non-organic produce.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I can't eat non-organic produce. It just means I do better. So you just suck it up and suffer a little bit. So, but I don't complain about the food allergies as such because it does keep me healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It forces me to stay healthy. And that's priceless.
Yes.
So, and I can afford to.
Yeah.
So
And
blah, 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 wine.
we'll say it goes back to my fighting aspect. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going with free will because I'm going to fight to get in the 1%. I'm going to fight to get into 0.01%. It's
There you
going
go.
to be a constant journey of number chasing.
I feel totally amazingly redneck. Like, the thing I want to buy is an RV.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like a
I've had family members who've lived in RVs, so that doesn't sound appealing at all.
Yeah, no, I can see that. No, so like it's hard for me to travel because the food aspect of everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I get to travel.
Yeah, I totally get
I
it.
get to leave and
Yeah.
go places. So I'd like to have, a house on wheels that I can tow along with my big ass van that can tow a house on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Because spoiled. I just am spoiled.
Let's see. As long as you say RV, I can understand. Whenever you use the word camper, I don't because in my head those are two different things.
Yeah, it's like a travel trailer, so I cannot do an RV which has a motor in it because
See, that's where you lose me.
okay, so it's just a trailer that you pull behind a car. Now,
Yeah,
here's
I know
the
what you're
thing,
talking- that's
because
the
you know
camper.
how I am
I hate
about car
campers.
seats.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
the
they don't work in
seats in an
RVs.
RV are plywood bolted to a wooden floor.
You're looking at the
So
approved
I've had friends who are
RVs.
like, I've put a car seat in an RV. It's totally fine. And it's like, it's not fine. That is a tin can. If you have watched any single episode of Top Gear where they do anything with a caravan, you know that is not fine. That is
That's
not fine. That is a death trap.
that's a caravan though. That's the camper you're
Okay.
talking about.
Okay. Caravan, then. That's fine. But so the caravans, like the RVs are the same way. The only seats that are safe are the ones in the front seat with the driver.
Mm.
So if you have kids, it's not safe. So I cannot do an RV
I don't know.
because
Have you ever seen like the tour bus RVs?
no.
I'm talking about like the $1 million investment ones.
Well, see, I'm not going to get $1 million one.
Those look
So-
awesome though.
They do, but they're still not safe to put car seats in. And I am.
It's literally a
effing
bus.
fanatic. I know.
I don't know what can hit you that will affect you other than an 18-wheeler.
Well, you know,
And at that
I am.
point, the car seat's kind of.
No, it's not necessarily.
I said kinda.
Kind of.
Kinda
But, yeah.
negligible at that
I
point.
have. James is 5.5 now,
Mhm.
and I have to turn him forward facing, and I am very unhappy about that.
Yeah.
So my 5.5-year-old's got to go forward,
Mhm.
and I don't want to because I'm neurotic fruitcake,
Yeah.
but I'm going to because I'm going to suck it up, and he is 5.5, so you know. Sigh.
I'm just gonna point out that earlier in the podcast you said you scored low in neuroticism. Now you're a neurotic fruitcake.
Yeah, I am. Well, no, I'm like this one's actually I do score low in neuroticism. I score like almost nothing in neuroticism, but this is where I went from having anxiety to just being cynical.
Mhm.
So the science, the information, and all of the research on it points to rear facing being absolutely the safest for anybody in a car, no matter the age. Therefore, it makes logical sense to me.
Yeah.
But he is 5.5, and at this point, the benefits are
I was gonna
probably negligible.
say at that age, I don't even know how you rear face.
Oh, it's totally easy. He's not very big kid. So, no, it's fine. He
Fair.
fits just fine. His car seat will go rear facing until 50 pounds.
Hmm.
And he is in the low to mid 30s
Yeah.
and
Alright.
goes quite tall. They had to make the weight limits bigger because the kids are getting fatter.
Mhm. Which I've noticed
So-
a lot lately.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
but- Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, he fits just fine. He could probably stay rear facing until 8 or 9. If he tracks with he's tracking bigger than his brothers, but if he tracks along approximately where he is, he could probably go rear facing to 8 or 9.
I still can't.
My oldest
envision
didn't-
that one.
My oldest didn't hit 50 pounds until he was
Yeah, but
closing in on 12.
where do your feet go?
They just crisscross applesauce. He just crosses them. Did you not see that picture I posted of his feet sticking straight up in the air?
Probably not. If you didn't link it to
No.
me, I didn't see it. I,
Well,
don't,
I'm gonna have to say
I don't go on Facebook.
apparently not.
I every so often, whenever I go just to clear out notifications, I will scan, and that's like once a month, maybe.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you the picture
Alright.
right now. I'm gonna send it to you, and you're gonna see. This is what I saw the entire trip down to Texas and back. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong thing. There it is. Facebook Messenger. Everybody else is gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing?" I will post this on my feed so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because why not? There, sent.
Now, see, that doesn't seem safe.
Oh, it's totally safe. You're more likely to break your legs when you're forward facing than rear facing.
Yeah, which I can see that.
That's
too.
the statistics.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just
Yeah.
that seems like you would break your neck.
No, because you go flying. you go flying forward, you're more likely to be internally decapitated when your big fat baby head goes flying forward as the brakes are slammed, or if
Oh
you're
yeah,
slammed from behind.
yeah.
So no, the mechanics, the physics, I don't know much science, but
No,
I know this science.
I'm not.
This science is right.
I'm not saying that the other way is safer. I'm just saying I can still see problems with this.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Like they're
Like,
yeah.
is
There's
it?
this kid. They just posted this this news story. Car got hit by a tractor trailer, and the mom was dead, but the kid who was rear facing in the backseat, and then the truck she was in was totaled. It
Mm,
was a twisted wreck. The kid was rear facing in that car seat, was fine, had a couple scratches.
well, yeah, but on the same token, I can throw out the stat that uh, if you're drunk, you're less injured in a car wreck. Doesn't mean everyone should drive drunk.
Well, no, but
That is true, by the way.
yeah, I believe that. You're
Because
less likely to tense up and get
yep,
injured.
because you're loose and you
Yep.
just go with the momentum of everything. You get
Yep.
less injured.
Yeah, I had a friend who was a paramedic, and she referred um to the rear-facing car seat as the orphan seat, and that's what all the paramedics called it in her team. That's the orphan seat. Everybody else is gonna be dead, and that kid's gonna be by themselves.
Yeah. No, I can see why. I'm just saying it still seems like a way that you could break your neck. You would still have a neck though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Because because most of the force is going pushed forward.
Hmm.
And so by the time the brakes are slammed and you fly back, which is where the kid would be flying, for them forward, where everybody else is being slammed back, a lot of the force has been taken out already because the initial force hit was going forward.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with that. That's the forward hit.
Yeah. Yeah. So by the time they snap forward and everybody else is snapping backwards, it's the second hit and a lot of it has already been taken out.
Mm.
So yeah, the kids typically are fine when that happens because they are because a lot of the shock is already gone.
Yeah.
I had this fight with
They're also more flexible.
yes.
And
I seriously had this argument with somebody who's a science teacher, and he's like, "No, it's not a thing." I'm like, "No, it totally is a thing. You're just upset with me because you put your kid in a booster seat when they were 3, and I called you out on it because that was stupid."
And then the
But
science teacher goes against science. Bravo.
yes, well, you know,
Yeah.
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 I mean, on the plus side, he was telling me before you were that the climate change science was too complicated to be summed up as into the term global warming,
Hmm.
and I was like, "No, you're wrong." So, you know,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm perfect in any of this.
No. That
Nope.
one that one took a while to catch on that that was a thing.
I didn't want it to be a thing.
Well, no, it's easier to say one tiny thing and this is one. It's annoying to go, no, there's 50,000 things going on here. And
Yes.
yeah, that's annoying as hell. And no one
It
likes
is
to talk to
annoying
you.
as hell. No. No, they don't. They don't want to believe you. They don't want to listen to you. I cannot even possibly say that the wage gap is not really a thing. I mean, it is a thing. It's definitely a thing, but it's got very complicated reasons, and
Well,
nobody wants to hear that.
it's a thing, but it's not a thing in the way people think it is.
Yes. Nobody wants to hear that.
No. Especially when you can shoot it down with one small argument of, well, if these greedy corporations are greedy corporations, then why aren't they just hiring women that they can pay less?
Because they're misogynistic. Duh.
But they're greedy.
But the misogyny is winning. It's winning. Didn't you see that?
Okay, so this
Are they
mindless
actually greedy or are
investors.
they just misogynistic? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure whenever you hear that, everything that they're being done is because investors are requiring more money on their return. I think greed wins.
Yeah, it does. I broke somebody's brain, and I don't think I meant. I mean, I meant to break her brain because that's kind of fun. But so we were having a discussion about trans people and how their brains actually. I would like to see this replicated a couple of times. Don't get me wrong, but their brains actually scan for the gender that they identify with. So they relate closer to the gender they identify with than the gender they are born with. Okay?
Wait, so are you saying there's differences in genders?
Yes, that's where I broke her. And I was like, that's where everything went haywire. Because she didn't want to accept that there were differences in genders, but it had to, because that was what the science. So I'm like, so when I said yes, so their brains are actually scanning like the brains of people of the gender they identify with, and she's like, see, the science is behind it. I'm like, so, if you say that that boys and girls are completely the same, that's where it's like, no, we can't do that because that's not actually real. Their brains are different. So, yeah, that was where I broke her, and she had to reluctantly agree with me, and it was very satisfying to watch. Very.
Yeah, I can see that, where it gets to that point where it's like, all right, there's nowhere to slip away here. You can pick one or the other.
See, when you point out the inconsistencies in their logic, and they're like actually forced to admit it, or admit that the thing that they hold dear is not real.
Yes. Yeah. That's a wonderful moment.
This is why you were right when you pointed out that I was not actually an agreeable person.
Very true.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this person, I had a friend who broke up with me because I actually don't know completely why. I have my guesses. But, she called me mean, and it's like, well, fair enough. I am absolutely mean. There's no denying that. But then she called me fake, and it's like,
that's a little harder to argue.
Yeah. Not to say that I don't fool myself and sometimes lie to myself. I will own happens because I convinced myself I was agreeable because it seemed like the thing to do at the time, but it's just not true. Yeah. So I have to own the fact that I am really fairly mean. My mom will say stupid crap, and I'll be like, they're never going to speak to you again, and then I'm going to sit here and laugh at you and I told you so. And because I will. So my poor mother. Imagine having to raise me.
I was going to say, she can't say much because...
yeah. She can be stubborn too. I
was going to say, it's like...
She has her quirks. She's funny.
Half your genetics and all your environment. This is the product.
Totally true. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
She told me right before the not right before, the summer before the 2016 elections, that Obama was the Antichrist. Or no, she told me when Obama was elected that he was the Antichrist. And this means something to her. And then, right before the 2016 elections, I was like, aren't you so glad that he wasn't actually the Antichrist? And she's like, no, he paved the way for the Antichrist, and the next president is going to be the Antichrist. And Trump was elected, and I was like, Mommy, you voted in the Antichrist. How do you feel? I did not. And I was like, well, you told me that the next president was going to be the Antichrist, so what is it?
And technically, the way was paved.
Yes! Cognitive dissonance for the win. As long as it was not her. She was convinced Hillary Clinton was the Antichrist, and it's like, okay, well, fair enough, but not. Because, no.
Which?
I think that the Antichrist will be a little bit subtler than that.
Maybe.
And a little bit little bit more effective at politics and communications. You can't argue with me on that one. You'd have to expect that the Antichrist is going to be extremely charming and a communicator and able to sway lots of crowds. Like, the majority of crowds. I think I am right on that one.
Well, this is actually kind of funny because this is sort of a future topic.
You cannot make me argue that Hillary Clinton is actually the Antichrist.
No, that wasn't the topic. The topic was it's something similar but different. Which is why I'm not saying as much as I should be saying right now, because I'm like, I want to get into this, but we're 2 hours in and I don't want to start it now.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband's going to want to go to bed soon. I don't really want to stop, though. I'm continuing to cross stitch. I've made lots of progress.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I will post pictures of that, too.
But yeah, it was part of my, this is not going to make sense to anyone else, but oh well, don't care. I was looking into the concept of anti-myth and inverted heroes' journeys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And part of that cropped up in this idea of revelation and how people might, when it, or if it happens, how people could so easily misinterpret it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
So I think the Antichrist is going to be a hero.
Huh. No, that doesn't surprise me.
Fighting for humanity. Literally fighting for humanity.
Well, but that exonerates Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I'd just like to point that out. I mean, where the hell did all that Clinton Foundation money go?
To the Clintons.
Did you?
It's not that hard. Easy questions.
Okay.
That was a softball.
All right. You win on that one. Did say something pretty stupid right there.
This is a big old softball.
I know. Oh, okay. Fair enough. But okay, I can see that though, that it could be like a hero, because that would be somebody who'd rally her behind. But if I had to pick my end of the world, I would pick Neil Gaiman's from Good versus the Good. Oh, what the heck is it called? You know what I mean?
Good Omens?
Crap. Good Omens, yes. That was pretty damn awesome.
I haven't finished that one yet.
You haven't Oh.
No, I'm bad. I need to get
That's
back on
terrible.
audiobook. I've been on podcasts. I need to go back to audiobooks.
Yes. Okay, for anybody else who hasn't listened to it, Demon is supposed to plant the Antichrist on Earth, and then he accidentally loses him. And he and an angel go after trying to find him.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty damn awesome. Because, I mean, how the hell do you lose the Antichrist?
Yeah. The piece of media I was talking about is where this idea comes from. I heard someone hypothesize about the narrative of a game called Mass Effect. And
a game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Games are literature. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So this game it's set in the future. It's a sci-fi fantasy type thing. Kind of like a space opera. And
a space opera?
Basically, yeah. Like Star Wars is a space opera.
Okay.
So,
go on.
So there's all these aliens invading Earth. And they're the ancient beings that are they're basically programmed to destroy all civilization every 50 billion years or so.
Okay.
And humanity and 6 other alien species are banding together to stop them from doing this, because that's what you would do. Sure. So
you mean you wouldn't throw out the welcome mat and be like, peace out?
Well,
because kind of that's what I'd do.
I was going to say some of us would, but a lot of other people will be like, yeah, let's try to save the universe, because that's the thing we should probably do. Or the galaxy.
The Will Smiths of the world.
Yeah.
Damn them.
So there was a guy I was watching a video of, and he was talking about how his idea was that the ancient eternal space creatures that were destroying the universe were actually angels working out God's will.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Because let's face it, you go into God and God kind of resets things ever so often.
Sure.
So you're rallying behind this one guy who is, the main
The
hero.
Antichrist.
Hmm.
Ah, that's so cool.
And you're going
I
through
like that.
the hero's journey with him. And the game never hints at any of this. It's all subtext
Yeah.
and clues that you have to pick up on it.
Yeah.
It's really an interesting thing that's where I was getting the subversion. That's where I started the subversion of the hero's journey.
That is so awesome.
Hmm. So that's
So, and that would seem predetermined too,
hmm
because.
except at the end of it, he ended up he talks to what is called the construct, which is represented by this like ghostly child figure.
Uh-huh.
And the guy argues that the ghostly child figure is the construct is the idea of God,
Uh-huh.
because child innocence, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So at the very very end of these three games, this takes over 3 games, which is like 40 hours each to play.
Jeez.
Yeah. So at the end of it, you're presented with this choice of, do you go through with the plan and let all synthetic and human or organic life die, or do you kill the reapers, which are quote unquote the angels or the agents of God, and go
Huh.
through that ending? And it ends up ultimately being the hero's choice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I found that fascinating.
That is fascinating.
That you take the hero's journey and you just tweak it slightly, and it could be something else.
Yikes.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if you know, but like the other series I've been working on that I haven't been working on for 5 years, the Conception one.
Yeah.
So there's supposed to be 4 more stories to that. And
Yeah.
one of mine ends with something quite similar to turning that journey on its head.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's a fun one.
I kind of, not in the same way, but I kind of did that with the ending of book 5 of Children of the Guard.
Yeah.
So I have one person quite annoyed with me for the ending. She's like, why would they make the choice to go? Why would they do that?
Mm.
And it's like, well, why would they? And
Right.
which is the right choice?
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not, I'm trying not to spoil it for anybody, but it's just not an easy choice.
Yeah.
But is it the right choice?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I kind of feel like it is, but would I make it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm not getting too far into mine, just not to spoil my own story.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'll just put it this way: Lucifer comes off as a very convincing good character. Which, if anyone wants to argue with, Prince of Laws.
yep.
If you want to go that route, maybe, just maybe, I'm going to write the character as a very good character.
You know,
You'll never know.
I'm
I'll never explain it.
doing that right now. So it's not like, no, I'm not writing her as a good character, but I'm writing her as she thinks she's a good character. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the lies we tell ourselves.
Yes. Which that's kind of the route I'm going to go with this, and it's, I don't know. I have some dialogue already written out that I'm very kind of proud of, and it's some arguments that should make people think.
Yeah. 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 That it does. It makes me think. It's like, whew, what the hell? Well, it has been over 2 hours. We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, probably. It's only been 2 hours 10 minutes.
Oh my God, it's almost midnight. This
Yeah.
mouse is gonna kill me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. With that, I'll talk to you later.
Until next time.
Bye.